Otherwise, session get delayed. We will
Right,
definitely.
sir. Welcome all of you in the inaugural webinar of Healthcare Sector Skill Council under National Obesity Awareness Campaign. And this campaign, Healthcare Sector Skill Council has launched in partnership with Medtronic as its knowledge partner. Under this campaign, I'm very proud to tell you that we have also started
Your
our
voice
radio campaigning,
is
which is streaming live
not clear.
every day on the Radio City 91.1 FM as well from starting from 3rd of the March on the occasion of World Obesity Day. Today, this is the inaugural webinar what we have launched for the occasion of World Obesity Day. I'm very thankful to my eight distinguished experts and panelists who have joined and given their valuable time to join the webinar and provide us the insights through their experiences so that we can prevent obesity and help combating with the obesity from as a medical help as well as from the help viewpoint of the holistic well-being. So I welcome our webinar moderator, Dr. Ravi Gaur. He is a distinguished oncopathologist and healthcare leader with over 35 years of experience in diagnostics, pathology, and healthcare system. He is the founder and director of DRG Path Labs, Delhi, and director and chairman of the Medical Advisory Board at OnQuest Laboratories, and also an distinguished member of HSSC CEP subcommittee. He has played a key role in establishing over 100 diagnostic laboratories and has led major corporate diagnostic chains across India. For more than 3 decades, Dr. Ravi Gaur has quietly dedicated his life to strengthening healthcare systems, nurturing people, and ensuring that care reaches where it is needed the most well and continues to work towards building scalable, accessible, and high quality diagnostic and wellness ecosystems in India and beyond. So I welcome Dr. Ravi Gaur, sir. Uh, you are the moderator. Thank you so much to accept our invite to become the moderator of this complete webinar and bring all the esteemed panelists and experts on this webinar. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Megha, for the very elaborate introduction. Thanks, Satan. I think it's my pleasure to be here. And best let me welcome all my senior panelists and all the speakers who have actually given their valuable time. And I think we're all definitely looking forward to hear from them. Thank you, everybody. And I think before, probably the time is already started. We can definitely add to all of you understand very well. The World Obesity Day was actually on the 4th of March. That was the day of Holi. We all had a lot of gujiyas and a lot of stuff. But I think that was probably not the right day to talk about obesity, but I think right day is every day. In any case, thank you so much. I think good afternoon. It's my pleasure to be here for this webinar, obesity awareness campaign, which is a year long. We'll have multiple activities, and I'm sure many of you will request you again to come to various forums here and there, be part of the awareness drive. Today, we are here for a very high level national webinar, which is focused on addressing one of the most urgent public health challenge, and that is the expanding waistline of growing nation. And that's what is obesity. Now, if I look back at 40 years ago, probably when I was in school or middle college, probably when you look back in the entire the classroom, you'll probably hardly find one odd person who was obese. But today, I think when you just turn around, somebody in the front, somebody in the back, almost like you can find a person who's overweight and obese just next to you all around. And this is basically a big, you can say the India is getting heavier and sicker earlier than ever before. And obesity is actually no longer a silent epidemic. It's already become an epidemic. Everywhere you can see the obesity. Now, it's before I think I hand over to Dheeraj, I'd like to say a few words because something what we can say about the numbers today. According to the World Obesity Federation, nearly about 4 billion people are projected to be living with overweight or obesity by 2035. That means 1 in 2 human beings on this planet is going to be overweight. Now, that's a big concern. And when it comes to India, there has been India regularly keeps doing national family health surveys. According to the data, India is witnessing again a rapid surge in overweight obesity among under 5 children, with the prevalence rising by 127%. That means the survey which was done in 2005 and 6, that's the third survey, there were about 1.5% of population who was strictly under 5 or category of obesity or overweight. But now, 2021 is about 3.4%. That's almost 127% increase. It's an alarming concern. Similarly, in adolescent girls and boys, we increased to 125% to 288%. That's a huge increase. Rural urban definition. Rural is something which is like still better, probably, or urban are done miserably failed. Almost 33% increase people in the urban areas are obese, and about 9% in the rural areas are obese. So almost 24-25% of people population is actually now overweight or suffering from obesity. Now, India is expected to be home over 27 million children and adolescents that is 5 to 19 years living with obesity by 2030, and this will account almost like 11% of the global burden. You can imagine the scale of obesity. We're going to look into it. We need to be careful today. For the drivers, I think we'll have probably we'll have experts across. They'll talk about it. But the most important part is, you can. This is how is we collaborate. Because probably not structured surveys we are now doing, but fact because of the highlight how fast foods, ultra processed foods, beverages are increasingly replaced by fruits, vegetables, and traditional diets. And this is basically a major challenge today. Now, here lies a paradox. Now, in India, the story is too complex. We are a nation that once fought hunger. Today, we fight hunger, hidden hunger, and metabolic excess at the same time, both together. In one household, grandmother may be undernourished, a father may be diabetic, and a child may be pre-obese, even before they understand what health means. This is a, like transition, economy, nutrition, urban, emotional confusion of all sorts. So on this, the series starting awareness on world obesity, we must confront a difficult truth. Obesity is not creeping on us. It's a racing ahead, quietly altering the health profile of the country and a new generation. And yet, we continue to treat it as a cosmetic issue rather than the chronic medical condition. We need to understand the deeper science of obesity. Let's be very clear. I think obesity is a health risk, not just a weight issue. And I think this is a awareness drive. This is what we have experts of all areas which are concerning obesity today. It's not just about appearance. It's not about inflammation. I think it's about a fatty liver, younger, 25 years old boy or girl having a fatty liver, hypertension at 30, cardiac arrest is at 35, 40, which was never heard, sleep apnea happening at 25, 30, cancer, depressions, and much, much more. And just this is, I think, a major scale which we're all concerned today. Yet, despite this, we continue to trivialize it. And that's the problem. We reduce it to still we think eat less, move more, and control yourself. I think this is something much more is required to be done. Culturally, we face contradiction. In some places, weight is mocked. In some places, it's normal. I think in diverse part, north and east and Punjab and these, slightly underweight or even normal weight. So I think in both the
Request everyone to keep yourself mute, please.
uh, in some places, weight is mocked, I was talking about, and others is normalized. In both, health is misunderstood. We celebrate food at every aspect, emotionally, but rarely discuss metabolic consequences. We shame bodies, but we do not question food systems. We diagnose diabetes, but ignore early obesity. This must change. We also need innovation beyond the clinical wall, the way the urban designs are happening, the sidewalks, the public park, office building, curriculum, school curriculum, everything has to change. Food labels should have a clear understanding label so that child can understand. Now, this year, the global theme has been 8 billion reasons to act, reminds us that every human life matters, every body deserves dignity, every child deserves a future free from preventable metabolic disease. This session is not about blaming individuals, it's about building a system, not about awareness alone, but actionable change. Because when we change the story, we change outcomes. When we change systems, we change statistics. And when we change language, we change lives. With this, I will, I think, like to invite our, the key speaker and presentation, Dr. Dheeraj Kapoor. Dr. Dheeraj Kapoor, he probably give us a insight that we must understand the science behind obesity. Dr. Dheeraj is the chief of endocrinologist Artemis Hospital, Gurgaon, one of the leading most and most respected voice, and I have heard him multiple times talking about the way the obesity is explained and how does diabetes, obesity, and multiple factors integrated together, how do they work in our body system. He has been a very distinguished author with almost 70 plus publications in national international journals. He's an advisory board of the Indian Journal of Endocrinology Metabolism and the International Journal of Atherosclerotic Diabetic Dyslipidemia, International Journal of Neurotrauma, and he's a president Innovative Physician Forum and a past chairman of RSSDI Haryana chapter and much more. Dr. Kapoor, who works on understanding metabolic systems, will present us a deeper presentation on understanding of obesity, biology, environment, and equality to help us how genetics, hormones, environment, and social economic inequality intersect. Looking forward to Dheeraj. Dheeraj, please.
Thank you so much, sir, for the introduction. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Fine. So I'll be talking about obesity, but one must understand that the problem is that obesity has always been linked to health. So what people say is कि बचपन से ही healthy हैं. Now the fact is that you have to dissect health and obesity. In fact, obesity is an antonym of health, if you ask me. So this would be my scheme of action. It is not about what you eat and what you burn. It is a very complex kind of a phenomena. And the tip of iceberg happens in all metabolic diseases, and this is no exception. So what we now do is that almost 33% people with obesity believe they are overweight or normal. So overweight would mean taking things lightly. And only 40% of people with obesity are formally told that, look here, all is not well as far as your weight is concerned. We have the third largest population in the world as regards obesity. Only the US and China are ahead of us. China because of its sheer population, and US because of the faulty diet systems that they are taking into account. As per the IDAP study, 254 million people with generalized obesity, which means the BMI. And with obesity in the abdomen, which is the bane of our society, which means waist circumference more than 80 centimeters in a woman or 90 in a man. If you consider that, then the figures are much, much higher. And this obesity leads to all metabolic complications. That's why it is now being debated whether the BMI is sufficient in our population, or we should actually look at the waist circumference or the waist hip ratio to sort the matters out. So, to the left is a balance, but it's not as simple as it seems. You have certain genes which predispose to obesity. Number one is the MC4 gene, then POMC, leptin gene. Leptin, obviously, we've heard quite often. Decreased leptin or leptin resistance, all of that cause. Then altered gut-brain communication. So there are certain hormones from the gut which are coming, predominantly leptins, GLP-1s, GH-renin, all of that, and their altered response could increase satiety or increase hunger. But when it's altered, it happens for a reverse. So you tend to feel more hungry and the satiety goes down.
Yeah,
There's
please
something
refer
called
it to me.
there's something called a hedonic appetite, wherein you are not hungry, but the brain wants to eat. And that is the problem, that once the brain wants to eat, it won't like to have a salad. It'll like to have a burger or a pizza or a kachori or a samosa, whatever. The unhealthy food. Impaired metabolism. So again, if you have belly fat, then the hormones which are pro-inflammatory, or the cytokines, they increase. The TNF alphas, the vaspins, resistance, and the ones that are good, the adiponectin, they decrease. Obesity is low grade inflammation, which means chronic inside the cell. It is not painful and the dollar palacal. No, it's not that. It is inside the cell which happens. Also, the gut microbiota may have a major role to play. So the microbiomes, the bacteria in the gut, they are the good as well as the bad. And they are not the ones which don't impact. They actually play a major role. And some anti-diabetic drugs also have that. So you may have people that I lost weight, I did a good diet, lost for 2 months, and then the weight became stationary. And the reason is that there's a fixed basal metabolic rate, the energy with the body spends. So once you start eating less, the BMR remains the same for 2 months, 3 months. But then the body says, look here, I'm not getting calories. How do I spend? So the BMR goes down. Secondarily, the satiety hormones, the leptins, all of them go down. Hunger hormones go up. So the body fights back, as it were, to reclaim its lost weight. Because of the stress of hunger, the cortisol hormone may also go up, and therefore you may gain weight because cortisol predominantly causes weight gain in the belly region. We Southeast Asians, as it is, are prone to weight gain there, and this will aggravate matters. So this is an integrate network which actually tells us that there are certain peptides which are orexogenic, which means they cause hunger. GH12, neuropeptide Y, agotipeptide, all of these may cause increased hunger, and adiponectin or POMC may cause reduced hunger. So the ones that cause reduced hunger, they go down, and the ones which cause increased hunger, they go up. So this is what I've been saying, that healthy eating, decreased weight, and then again the body fights back, hunger hormones increase, and there's a weight regain. So what are the risk factors for obesity? Number one, hormone imbalance, as I've alluded to. Medical conditions, well, certain issues of genetics, or maybe a Cushing syndrome, possibly hypothyroidism. Then the social inequality. Now, there are some restaurants in the US where an affluent person will not go. And those are the restaurants where an Indian would celebrate the birthday. And the reason is that those are cheap. Now, if there is something cheap, there will be a recycled oil, there will be more oil, there will be more sugar, and all of these culminate in an absolute recipe for weight gain. Geographical variations in some societies, there's lots of fried food which is being served. I'm not here to mention the states. There are some wherein lots of fried rice is being served. There are some where lots of sweets are being served. So across, there is this. Now, about the stress. Tasty food is a very good stress buster. You must understand. So, if someone is stressed, I'll offer him a bowl of salad, he'll hit me. If I offer him some tasty food, he'll hug me. And the food is made tasty by only two mechanisms. Number one, add excess of sugars, or maybe add excess of fat. Coming to a dish called momo, we are all aware. We know that you make momos from maida, also refined flour, and momo from atta. And I bet 90% of us have not seen an atta momo shop because the atta momo is slightly more leathery to eat. It is not tasty. Those shops don't run, and therefore, what you get across the board is is a maida momo. Also, about bread, multigrain bread is hardly in vogue in our kind of a society. something called endocrine disruptors, microplastic, which we use in and out, maybe in water bottles or those carry bags. These microplastic may cause insulin resistance. These microplastics also go in the plaques in the blood vessels and make it more prone to rupture. So, endocrine disruptors, particularly microplastics, are important. Then several medications, and here I would like to name the drugs used for neuropathy, the pregabalin, the gabapentins. They also cause long-term weight gain. I'm not mentioning insulin or glitazones or steroids. They are taken for granted. But medicines such as those may also promote weight gain. Now, what about epigenetics? Epigenetics is a fact that the genes don't change their structure. The genetic makeup is not changed, its manifestation is changed because of the things like methylation or histones formation, so on and so forth. So, these are the various genes that have been discovered for obesity. I will not go into all this. Feeding practices I have talked about, but suffice to say that if a child does well on any front, please stop giving food or good food incentives to him. बेटा टॉप कर लो इम्तिहान में ट्रीट वहां दो द वर्ड ट्रीट इट शुड बी अ स्पोर्ट्स ट्रीट buy him a racket, buy him skates, buy him jogging shoes, but don't buy him those packaged foods as a matter of treat or a matter of reward or an incentive. This is where we are going wrong. Now, what about urbanization? So first of all, the people who have migrated from villages to these places, they have this sense of food insecurity. And that is why they tend to eat calorie dense food. That's supposing I have this lunch. If I don't get dinner, it will stay, and tomorrow I can manage things for myself. These calorie dense foods are the ones that cause problem, and the fellow eats it. Excess calories go into the adipose tissue. We Indians have this knack of having tissue in the visceral region, and this secretes all the inflammatory cytokines which cause insulin resistance, then diabetes, hypertension, and obviously dyslipidemia. So, also, what happens is that once you have become urbanized, then the energy expenditure is also reduced. Why? Because, first of all, you can't walk to office as you would walk to maybe your farm. So, these people are also on those rented auto rickshaws, whatever. They can't afford it, but they still do it. So they are not walking because most times the job place is not walkable, which means that you don't burn calories, there's no thermogenesis. Then, of course, because of this chronic inflammation, the neutrophil function goes down. So you also have a reduced immunity to various diseases. So, lack of energy burning, more of calorie dense food, all of them leads to increased fat reserves. And come the elderly. So these people again are finicky about food. The protein intake goes down, the carb intake goes up because as you age, you tend to, and you are stressed, you tend to love certain kinds of food. So you develop visceral obesity, but because the protein intake is less, you develop sarcopenia. We must understand that after the postprandial, when the sugars rise, the sugars go into the liver and the muscle. So, muscle, as it were, are the dustbin of your blood sugars. So, if you have sarcopenia, the muscle mass is less. There is a high sugar level in the blood, which again strains your pancreas, and risk for diabetes happens. So, with aging, there is decreased activity, decreased protein intake, and all of this causes sarcopenia. And sarcopenic diabetes is now a well recognized entity, not in that name, but as a causal factor. Now, what about the cancer risk? We must understand that overnutrition, obesity, fat at the wrong place, there is a cellular inflammation. There will be no pain, there will be no fever, nothing of that kind, but the intracellular organelles go for a toss. So, once the ectopic fats develop in the pancreas, you get impaired secretion. Once it goes to the liver, you get something called MASLD. So first it was NAFLD, which was non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Now it's called MASLD, the metabolic syndrome associated steatotic liver disease. And ectopic fat around the heart, the epicardial fat, that was cause cardiac disease. The fat, obviously, in the blood vessels will cause coronary disease. Also, Alzheimer's disease is well described in these patients. Now, joint problems are the mechanical problem of obesity. So, there is something called the Medasa paradox. I closer home, I call it the Ravan paradox. So, once Bhagwan Sri Ram severed one head of Ravan, the other sprang up. Ultimately, he had to hit at the navel. The demon was gone. So, obesity is responsible for around 228 diseases. So, you hit obesity, which means you make patient lose weight and all the things improve. Now, what does this do? It causes aging, senescence, and the adipose tissues release something called the senescent associated phenotype, which causes damages to the mitochondria, damage to the DNA, which means your DNA goes for a toss. There is also a regression in the autophagy of the damaged cells. So they also persist. They again release peptides, and the peptides being TNF alpha, interleukin 6, interleukin 1 beta, and the vaspins. Also, obesity leads to insulin resistance, which means that the insulin can't act the way it should. The pancreas is flogged day in and day out, and you get diabetes because of resistance and because of the activation of the rectilineal system. You get more of catecholamines, and they again cause a high blood pressure and high risk for complications. So, what does this do at the organ level? The lumen is enlarged. There is increased VEGF. Now, VEGF actually causes increased vessel formation, and I'll come to that VEGF. How does it play a role? So, there is something called a white adipose tissue, a brown. Brown obviously is healthier. White, once there is an increase in lipids, at the end of the day, the WAT capacity is overwhelmed. There is fibrosis, there is altered lipid storage, and once overwhelmed, it goes to the livers, to the pancreas, blood vessels, and heart. And there is dysfunctional adipose tissue. Also, because of dysfunction, there is fibrosis, there is hypoxia. Hypoxia also causes increased VEGF, increased vessel formation, what we call angiogenesis. And this angiogenesis may lead to increased propensity of the cancer cells to spread because tissues with fibrosis, with altered function of autophagy, they are more prone to dysplasia, metaplasia, and thereby uh, cancer. Leptin has its own set uh, of contribution. So first of all, it induces tumor angiogenesis. You know that leptin resistance happens. Leptin resistance happens only to its metabolic effect, not to its angiogenetic effect. So it will cause changes in adhesion molecules. It will cause increased angiogenesis, which propagates the cancer spread and proliferation. It also enhances metal protein synthesis, leading to macrophages activation, tumor microenvironment. It actually proliferates, and also angiogenesis, which again promotes the spread of cancer cells. So this is a summary of cancer. So TNF alpha and the likes, they are there in a chronic inflammatory state. So they cause inflammatory loop, and there is increased tumor infiltration, promotion, invasion, and metastasis. Leptin, I've alluded to. Apellins and visfetins, they increase the propensity for angiogenesis and metastasis. They are something which called immune evasion. Crown-like structures, predominantly from the visceral adipose tissue, they increase the estrogen drive, and you know that certain malignancies, for example, the breast, possibly the prostate, are estrogen dependent. And now for something reduced, adiponectin is reduced, and that causes loss of protective signals, which are, so there is loss of anti-inflammation, loss of anti-angiogenesis, and all of these culminate in tumor initiation, promotion, invasion, and metastasis. So prevention, what do we do? What do we do about it? Active at all levels, active at society level, active at environmental level, active people, and active systems. So, Fit India campaign launched by our Adaraniya Pradhan Mantri ji in 2019. So, what can the society do? Gather in the park and try to keep a record. If someone doesn't, increase the maintenance bill for that person. Then environment, you must ensure that a person gets safe place to walk. Why would I walk if I have a fear of being run over? So proper, and you know, all of us have seen that those footpaths are being used by bikers to evade the traffic. We all know that. Why would I walk? Cycling should be encouraged. Public transport should be encouraged. Social gatherings should be encouraged. They are stress busters, but social gathering minus those calorie dense food, they should be encouraged. And the government obviously is trying to put these things into place. And the anti-obesity drive, I think, is a very, very good initiative. So dietary guidelines should be published and made available to all and sundry. Warning, as you say, cigarette is harmful to health. Pan masala is injurious to health. Why can't we say that having corn syrup or fructose-rich food or maida is injurious to health? Why can't we do that? Fiscal policies, if I'm not mistaken, there was some increased tax on some items which are harmful. So why can't we increase the GST on the foods which are calorie dense? That might go a very long way in preventing all this. Marketing regulations, that this far and no further. Public procurement policies, that this child can have only this much of junk food. I know I'm sounding a bit unrealistic, but we have to make a stand somewhere. So, Indian guidelines for obesity, I think all patients should have their height and weight measured. All patients should have their waist and hip circumference measured. Edmonton scale might not be easy to perform. Even I don't do that. But the fact of the matter is that in our population, the BMI normal is 22.9, not 24.9, as is that for the Caucasians or for the Americans. And please, please stop referring to obese children as healthy children. That is the first start that we need to make in this regard. About the anti-obesity medicines, there are drugs, the GLP-1 based therapies. One, of course, is semaglutide, and GLP-1 and GIP based, something is called tirzepatide. What do these do? Number one, they act on the satiety center of the brain. They also may cause slight bit of nausea, and they also cause a slowed gastric emptying, which means the food stays in the stomach for thus that much longer, and therefore you feel less hunger. But please, and I'm going on a lighter vein, कि वजन कम करना है तो भगवान एक बार तो पास करा देंगे। आप बोलो भगवान पास करा दो, एक बार पास करा देंगे, अगली बार तो पढ़ना पड़ेगा इम्तिहान में। What I mean is that these drugs will help you in weight loss. There's no doubt about it. But once the drugs are stopped, you tend to have a weight gain. And the reason is that now the hedonic appetite comes back. You tend to have craving for tastier food. The stomach becomes emptier that much early. So all the things that were leading to weight loss are now reversed, and therefore you tend to have weight gain. So this is a chronic model. So first of all, something called primordial prevention. That is, prevent obesity. Then primary. So once obesity happens, stop yourself and prevent from having complications. Secondary, well, complications have just started, let them not progress. For example, a novel liver, a fatty liver, a MASH, or maybe fibrosis. Weight loss is important. 5 to 10% weight loss, and you see the magic it causes. So, for example, 80 kg lady or a gentleman, if they lose 4 kilograms, they will say केवल 4 किलो lose हुआ है। वो 4 किलो वो 5% है। And that 5% will help you lose your fatty liver, PCO may improve, BP may improve. And obviously, if you lose 20%, you will be a totally changed person. So you see this blue oval thing, ABCD. Obesity possibly carries some amount of social stigma with it. So ABCD, adiposity, adiposity based chronic disease. That is possibly a new nomenclature for obesity. Genetics play a role, environment plays a role. You can't change your genes, you can't change your environment. Possibly you can, but you can certainly change your lifestyle habits, and that has to change. And mind you, sleep hygiene also plays a very, very important role in because if you don't sleep on time, the cortisol, which is supposed to go the least at 11 p.m., will not go to nadir and it will rise. Also, the longer you stay awake, the more is the hedonic appetite. So 12 बजे and आजकल तो इतने food apps आ गए, किसी का नाम नहीं लूंगा. I mean, within 10 minutes at 12 in the midnight, they are at your doorstep. So we need to behave ourselves in terms of diet, exercise, sleep hygiene, stress. All of that needs to be reduced in a holistic manner if we are to prevent obesity and its complications. So care for patients with obesity and cancer, well, you have to screen them. HbA1c needs to be done every 3 months in diabetes, maybe a year in pre-diabetes. Then also you need to do lipids. You need to check the anthropometric parameters, blood sugar monitoring at least 3 or 4 times a week. And if there is diarrhea, fatigue, whatever, you must talk to the relevant patient, maybe an oncologist or a surgeon. So this is my penultimate slide. Obesity is nothing new, described around 1760. Corpulency. Actually, it's corpulence, but corpulence is obesity or fatness. So Fleming said corpulency, when in an extraordinary degree, may be reckoned as a disease, not as a healthy scenario, as in some measure obstructs the free exercise of the animal functions and hath a tendency to shorten life by paving way to dangerous distempers. For example, cardiac disease, for example, stroke, for example, malignancies. Thank you so much for your attention. And there was some amount of I've stopped. There was some amount of disturbance because of my cough that I was having. And if there are any questions, I'll try my level best to answer them.
Thank you, Dr. Dheeraj. I think very great insights because that's what we show that obesity, like genetics, science, hormones, stress, lifestyle. I think every aspect is probably like you covered very well. Thank you so much. I was just thinking about it. If you look at the, it were 228 diseases you mentioned, probably the obesity. Every organ test except for the taste bud or tongue, maybe. That is where it is. But I think it's a very, very important, like, a couple of takeaway points. What we got it is like, you can say that when we proudly called the healthy, well-fed child, that this is, and this is for the first step leading to a lifestyle disease. So whenever somebody healthy child hai, अच्छा खाया पिया घर का है, I think beyond that, and that mindset need to be definitely talked about. And secondly, you really mentioned something interesting. When we have celebrations and parties, we should what we talk about. Like, wow, wow, kya khana tha, and nice khana, and specific obesity will. I think if you do that, obesity will become the national celebration, not us. I think we need to take. And
So even today, if in front of a grandmother you called her grandchild obese, she will hit you, rest assured.
That's right. Then there's one more thing. You mentioned about active. That's very nicely said. Active is something. Even if you're active, mean you act on active. And you can have a activity every day. See, control your portion of what you eat and think before you're eating. Act three things. It will take care of most of the things. I'm pretty sure. One very question. I think the last question before I think we go to panel speakers. The common question everybody asks. I don't eat anything. मैं तो चलता भी हूँ मैं तो खाता ही नहीं हूँ सुबह शाम तक फिर भी मैं वेट गेन करता हूँ what is that like how do we address because this is a very first question people come and ask us.
Sir, what happens is that sometimes we are not aware. So, what I tell my patients is that I agree that you don't eat anything. Now, what you do is that you eat and drink and write on a piece of paper and email me after 7 days. I'll tell you what is wrong. And some more often than not, they are having a piece of chocolate or maybe half a pastry or maybe half a barfi. Every day they are having, sir. And मैं खाता कुछ नहीं हूँ वो तो होता है पर सर इतना चलने की बात नहीं करता है सर वो मेरे घुटने में दर्द है मैं कैसे चलूं या मैं तो दिन भर घर में काम करता हूं सो दैट माइट नॉट बी सफिशिएंट बट यस एनीवन हु सेज आई डोंट ईट यस यू प्लीज ब्रिंग योर फूड डायरी and I politely tell them possibly inadvertently you are eating something which you're not supposed to eat and we'll correct it next time you email me.
Very nicely said. I think if you maybe keep writing, the weight of the paper will increase. You realize that something is increasing somewhere. Okay, thank you, Dr. Neeraj. I think there may be one or two questions in the box. Probably if you'll be able to answer, that'll be very nice. But I just move on to because there's few things probably before we move on. Because if you look at the leadership, I'll put across the government of India efforts. India has taken several steps in recent years, and we have something called Fit India movement, Eat Right India campaign going on, the Poshan Abhiyan, and school-based health and wellness program. I think let's be aware of that. Probably contribute wherever we can and make people aware. These are something you already mentioned. The Prime Minister is already mentioned about guidance to place sugar and oil boards in school and offices, which has also been introduced. There's something called ICMR runs a program called Let's Fix Our Food Consortium. Institution of Nutrition, UNICEF partners that call for stronger measures, whatever public measures need to be taken. Thank you once again. I'll probably now move on to our interesting panel discussion. Now, we all understand that obesity cannot be solved in isolation. It requires collaboration across disciplines, what Dr. Dheeraj clearly mentioned. So many multiple diverse factors altogether. Standalone food and something may not work. Standalone exercise may not work. Standalone medication will not work. But I think it requires a lot of collaboration across disciplines. That is across mindsets even. To guide us through this next segment, our panel discussion, we have Together Against Obesity, Prevention and Care and Community Action. I'll request Dr. Swati Maheshwari to probably take the moderate panel discussion. Dr. Swati, for the brief introduction, she is a well-known figure, a public health figure, expert. She's currently director at Fortis Hospital, Manesar, with about 20 years experience in clinical medicine and public health. She has been, I think many of you must have seen her. She's actively promoting awareness on lifestyle diseases and preventive healthcare through her clinical work and community initiative. And we'd like to go back and to Swati again. Platform is yours. Please take it forward, Swati.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gaur, and for the kind words, and Dr. Megha for having me over here. And that was very enlightening. We heard from Dr. Dheeraj. So first of all, a very good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this inaugural webinar by the Healthcare Sector Skill Council, which is titled, as you already know, Change the Story of Obesity from Stigma to Support, from Awareness to Action. So as you all know, obesity today is no longer just a lifestyle disorder. In fact, it is a complex chronic condition, as Sir just mentioned, which is influenced by biology, by environment, mental health, food systems, and even the way our communities function. Therefore, India today is witnessing a very rapid increase in not just adult obesity, but also child obesity. And that has made it a very imperative public health challenge where all different sectors of society have to integrate together to solve this puzzle. So today's discussion brings together experts from nutrition science, mental health, we have from corporate wellness, organizational leadership, and even metabolic medicine, and for that matter, bariatric medicine. Our goal is to move beyond blame and quick fixes and instead explore practical, compassionate, evidence-based solutions that individuals, families, workplaces, and policymakers can adopt. So let us begin this important conversation on how together we can truly change the story of obesity. Let me first start by introducing our first panelist over here. We have 5 esteemed panelists today to discuss this various aspects of obesity. First of all, we have Dr. Shikha Sharma, and I'll be starting with you, Dr. Shikha. She's a pioneer in preventive and integrative nutrition. She is a medical doctor and founder of Brentford Wellness, which is a globally recognized preventive healthcare platform. She is a graduate from Maulana Azad Medical College. She blends modern medical science with Vedic nutrition to promote lifestyle-based disease prevention. She is also a very well-known media personality as well. Her work focuses on holistic wellness, nutrition-based healing, and building sustainable preventive health models. So very welcome to you, Dr. Shikha Sharma. And let me begin with adding the first question to your forte, I would say. So is Dr. Shikha here?
Yes. Am I visible?
Yeah, you are. So let me put the first question across to you, Dr. Shikha. So with childhood obesity rising rapidly in India, where are families going wrong, do you think? Is it food quality? Is it portion sizes, marketing influences, or misunderstanding of nutrition? And I'd just like to add, as Dr. Dheeraj just mentioned, there is this notion of bachpan se healthy hai. So, how can we change the narrative altogether? To you, Dr. Shikha.
Yes. So thank you so much. And I must say that the previous panelist, Dr. Dheeraj, really covered each and every aspect so beautifully. So thank you. It was really nice to see his presentation. So like you said, Dr. Swati, that it is all of them. All of these factors are contributing to childhood obesity. So now let's begin with the basic factor. A lot of mothers are giving food which has chemicals in it to the baby, and it's starting as young as few months old, few weeks old. When we are giving processed milk powder to the child, we are basically upsetting the gut biome from a toddler age. We all know that the brain axis is a very powerful axis. We also know that the gut is the first stage where your food DNA, your food genome is interacting with the human genome. So it's not just that we are putting some food and it's going to be calories. It's actually interaction of different systems, different environmental systems. So human system is interacting with a plant or an animal system. So at that level, when we put chemicals, and we all know that milk powders have chemicals, we all know they have preservatives, we all know that they are pre-digested already. So now all these proteins are passing through, all this information is passing through the child's delicate intestine, and impacting the entire hormonal system, liver system, and is also kind of priming the person for future cravings. We all know that kids fed a lot of these products develop early stage diabetes at an age which is far earlier than adults. So that is number one. So we have to get chemicals out of our cupboards. We all are focusing too much on calories, and we are forgetting the problem more than calories is the chemicals in our food. When we talk about junk food, we are focusing only on sugar, fat, oil, and we are completely forgetting the number of chemicals in each and every processed food which we are eating, and that is short circuiting our entire system. That is number one. Number two, we have to understand that when we are living in big cities, big metros, now our body is not just about that we are eating calories and running around and burning calories. No, each organ in our body is interacting and contributing to the other. Like, for example, when we talk about muscle, it's not about strength only, it's also about insulin. When we're talking about liver, it's not only about fatty liver and accumulating, it's also about hormone production, it's about appetite, it's about so many other functions the liver has. So what we are doing is we are basically, if we actually see, we have a Mercedes car, a petrol car, and we are putting kerosene in it, and we are expecting that Mercedes to run flawlessly. Not possible. You're giving the wrong thing to the body. It's not designed to digest chemicals. So that is number one. Number two, I would say that we all know that we have today, I think 90% young harassed parents are feeding their child in front of a television. If you know today that the modern addiction is not only alcohol, the modern addiction is the device in front of the child. So we are actually training a child to get addicted at a very young age. So when the child is watching a cartoon and you're feeding the child, you're basically, that's the first step of what we call eating without awareness. And then once you have trained the child for years, how hard it will be for doctors to now get the training out of the system of the child. It'll be very hard for any professional after 10 years of training the child to be addicted to a screen. They know you can't eat it without a screen. You know that today children show huge tantrums, which is more like addictive behavior than a child behavior. The third thing that I would like to, of course, we all know that children are playing games on a screen and they're not moving. When they're not moving, our entire hormonal imbalance is starting at a very, very young age. When we move, it's not just to burn calories. Our blood flow is moving, our hormonal systems are moving, our entire body is getting trained to actually repair itself. So what I'm trying to say is the body, we don't have to consider the body as a box. The body is a super intelligent machine with cellular intelligence, with gut brain axis, with each and every organ actually living. So when we are not allowing the body to function in a functional way, we are actually, it's almost like a jail. Our kids are living in jail in front of a screen. So if we are putting our kids under an arrest where the body is not moving, you can quite imagine that heart disease, diabetes, obesity, inflammation, emotional problems, psychological problems, all of them we are already observing in our practice. So that's what I would say. Sorry for a long answer to your question.
Not at all. And thank you so much. And you so very rightly pointed out that germination of obesity, for that matter, starts from infancy itself. And therefore, that is what something we need to be very careful about. I just request all the participants in the conference here to please put yourself on mute so that we don't have any disturbances in between and the speakers can, say what they want to say to you. Also, before we go forward, let me spell out the names of all the panelists that we have, the esteemed panelists that we have. Ms. Poonam Bhargava, she is a visionary educator and holistic well-being mentor. We also have Dr. Rajarshi Bhattacharjee. He is a distinguished preventive health and corporate wellness expert. We have Dr. Nitin Arora with us. He is a renowned happiness researcher and leadership mentor. Then we have Dr. Daksh Sethi with us. He is an eminent minimal access and bariatric surgeon. So I move forward to our next speaker, which is Ms. Poonam Bhargava. She is a very visionary educator and holistic well-being mentor. She is founder of Be None, which is a learning academy, and she is a certified well-being counselor and mindfulness coach with over 25 years of experience. She is an MD Gold medalist, and also she promotes emotional well-being, self-care, compassionate engagement through counseling sessions and workshops. So I welcome you, Ms. Poonam, over here at the panel, and let me put the question across to you if she's here.
Yes, Dr. Swati. Thank you so much for the nice introduction.
Hello, nice to see you.
Yeah.
So, first question that I'd like to put forward to you is that many weight loss conversations that we hear today are driven by shame and guilt. And so, how does this weight stigma actually worsen the obesity outcomes? What do you feel in this perspective?
Sure. I am also reading the comments that are coming, and I think people are urging us to speak in Hindi. So, yeah, so what I will do is I will use both mediums so that, sorry,
Sure.
that everybody can understand it better. Absolutely right when you say shame. So, I'll just cover it in a perspective which is both biological and psychological. तो मैं दोनों वेज में बात करती हूँ सो दैट सब समझ पाए. डॉक्टर कपूर ने सबसे पहले ऑलरेडी हमें समझा दिया है कि क्या होता है. एक स्ट्रेस हार्मोन निकलता है विच इज कॉर्टिसोल, एंड वो आपके बेली के अराउंड फैट कलेक्ट कर देता है, एंड यू स्टार्ट गेनिंग वेट, यू हैव cravings, you want to eat more food, and that is how you get into the spiral of first having stress, then overeating, then gaining weight, and again having stress. And this all is covered under something called stigma. So basically what happens psychologically, there is this model called cobwebs, which means cyclic obesity, weight-based stigma. So this actually makes you go from having stress to becoming a conversational talk. Somebody who sees you, perceives you as not the right frame. Somebody who sees you as a larger body size. Somebody who says, oh, you eat so much. Oh, you have a round body, or you are chubby. So these are all the titles that are put as shame labels, which it's very difficult to overcome and deal with. So what happens? Two things happen. Either आप अपने आप को इन सारी चीजों से बचाने के लिए isolate कर लेते हैं, right? You go into isolation. Or the second thing that happens is that you become somebody who will resort to a different coping mechanism, which is having more food. So जो चीज से हम आपको बचाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, which is obesity, आप उसी की तरफ ज्यादा भागते हैं, because then you become more kind of wanting to eat the food that gives you comfort and security. And what happens is, in order to eat more, you want your body to also not feel threatened, because आपकी body constantly, किसी ने call out किया, oh, you are a certain size, so आपको लगता है threat, you feel like, oh, she has called me out. तो वो change नहीं cause कर रहा है, वो आपको motivate नहीं कर रहा है to lose weight, वो आपको threat में डाल रहा है, and that threat causes you to eat more so that your body collects layers of fat and becomes more prone to securing itself from the threat that it perceives. And this is what happens when shame goes on. So I urge that parents, educators, people who are peer groups, they should talk in a very different narrative around shame. They should not be using the words that can label a person. They should be using rather different conversation and vocabulary around this. And that is how we will be able to handle the stigma called shame. I think I tried to contain it in a small space, Dr. Swati.
Yes, thank you so much. And so you very rightly pointed out, shame is not a health strategy anymore. And so let's move from individual behavior to workplace systems. And let me get in Dr. Rajeshi Bhattacharjee into the conversation as well. So he's a very distinguished preventive health and corporate wellness expert. I'll give a short intro as well. He's a senior physician specializing in preventive medicine and corporate healthcare with nearly 20 years of experience in occupational health systems. He serves as a consultant chief medical officer at Hindustan Power and is also a consultant corporate doctor with the Times of India Group. His work focuses on integrating preventive health strategies into workplace systems to enhance employee well-being and productivity. I welcome you, Dr. Bhattacharya, over here at the panel. Are you
Thank you,
there?
Dr. Swati. Yes, Dr. Swati, I'm here. Am I audible?
Yes, absolutely. You are. Very good afternoon to you. And I'll just put across the first question to you. So with India's
please.
workforce becoming more sedentary, हम ज़्यादातर सारे time बैठे बैठे काम करते हैं, and the whole day passes out sitting on a chair for most of us. What structural workplace changes can reduce obesity risk in your opinion?
That's an interesting question, Dr. Swati. Basically, modern offices are designed for efficiency. It's not designed for health purposes. It's not the futuristic workplace must enable both. So, having said that, to be very honest, most of the corporates don't believe health as a primary thing in their workplace. It's always pushed as a last thing in our life in a corporate setup. It's almost similar to pre-COVID health budgets. So it's the same thing here. But having said that, there are few things that can be done actually. And before that, I really thank the Health Sector Skill Council and Dr. Megha for inviting me to this webinar. Dr. Ravi Gaur, Dr. Swati, thank you for having me here. And thank you, the esteemed panelists who are here to give their insights. It's been really enjoyable till now. So, see, there are a few things that I can think of which can create an active workplace design. One is, the small environmental changes which can bring about a lot of efficiency in the workplace. One is which in Times of India we had introduced a long time back, standing desks, which instead of sitting desks, we had a few standing desks, few walk around meetings, centrally located printer places, healthy food options in canteens, which is not like a passe as the last resort, but Dr. Shikha would enlighten us more on this. But something which can be provided to each and every employee as the basic necessity, because we end up eating a lot of oily food when I see in the canteen, a lot of junk food, a lot of things that are not cooked hygienically. So that then a few organizational breaks, say if a 30-second video pops up every 3 hours or say 2 hours on your laptop, which encourages you to take a break, move around, change your posture. These minimal changes can actually bring about a lot of change. And I think if these things can be brought about in our daily activity what we've done very interestingly in our office here in Hindustan Power is put calories on every step of the staircase. So we encourage people to take the staircase up and down, and they actually see the amount of calorie that is burnt during the day while climbing up the stairs, and we encourage them to take the stairs instead of the elevators. So I'll keep it short. I think if we can bring about these changes, it would be more than enough to start with.
Thank you, Dr. Bhattacharya. I think that is very interesting to put calories on each and every staircase. That motivates the person who's walking those up to take. Sorry, I think I was unmuted. Now I am. So I'll request the others to please unmute yourself and put your videos off as well. Yes, thank you, Dr. Bhattacharya. I think that was a very interesting idea of putting calories on each and every staircase, and how workplace can be a very powerful opportunity to support healthier lifestyles. So let us get in a leadership and policy expert as well onto the panel now, Dr. Nitin Arora. He's a very renowned happiness researcher and leadership mentor. He's a professor HR and head of the Center for Science of Happiness at MIT University, Noida, with over 23 years of academic experience. His work focuses on happiness studies, mindfulness, organizational behavior, and leadership development. He has guided 8 PhD scholars and contributes through corporate trainings, international conferences, and global happiness podcast. I welcome you, Dr. Nitin Arora, on the panel. I hope you're there.
Thank you, Dr. Swati. Can you see me?
Yes, I can. Very good
Thank you so
afternoon to you.
Good
And
afternoon,
I'd like
Dr.
to put forward a first question across to you. How can organizations, design wellness programs without stigmatizing employees struggling with weight? Because like Dr. Rajshri also mentioned right now, there are so many things that a workplace can do. And so if you could also suggest as to how organizations can be more helpful to their people.
Right.
Over
First
to
of
you.
all, thank you, Dr. Ravi, for inviting me for this HSSC Council debate, and Dr. Bega for coordinating this. Since I am the professor of happiness at MIT University, my role is to enhance happiness. The talk going on is about obesity, is about reducing the food and all that. So let me tell you, the young generation love to eat a lot. Number one. Regarding organization, Dr. Bhattacharya ji, the moment he said na, on each staircase, he's putting a calorie check. So in real thing, if you go in any university, at each different corner, they have a, you can say a kiosk where they can buy something. So they are putting chocolates, chips everywhere in all the corners. Even in the organization, ye bhi ho raha hoga, I'm sure. Wahan pe kiosk laga hoga. So fast food lovers, businesses, they are putting the thing and stealing all the corners. They are all sponsored corners. So number one, just wanted to say one thing. If you all are, जो बच्चे देख रहे हैं और जो सब देख रहे होंगे, उन्होंने कहा था कि हिंदी में भी बोलना, so मैं थोड़ा मिक्स कर लेता हूँ. हम सब मूवीज देखते हैं, तो मूवीज में ना बहुत ज्यादा बॉडी शेमिंग के गाने होते हैं, विच आर पॉपुलराइज्ड. जैसे किसी ने बोला कि जिसकी बीवी लंबी उसका भी बड़ा नाम है, जिसकी बीवी मोटी उसका भी बड़ा नाम है. ऐसे गानों को बहुत पॉपुलराइज किया जा रहा है. सो पहले तो एक तो उनको करना बंद किया जाए कि ग्लैमराइज कम किया जाए. उसके बाद इवन इन ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, आई एम श्योर सिंस यू ऑल इन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, इफ समबडी सेज टू यू, so you have a fat balanced account, so it's a very proud feeling that you have a fat balance account. And if somebody says how much he is paying, are they paying you a fat check? So people are very proud of those words. So people are wrongly linking the word fat with the other things. So पहले normal language में अगर वो change हो जाता है तो वो अच्छा है. और दूसरा, if I say even in the language, those who are obese, उनके साथ हम देखते हैं सिंपैथी के साथ कि यानी भगवान बचाए, अब भगवान ही तुम्हारा कुछ करेगा. एंड देन दोज हु आर फिट, उनको और काम दिया जाए ताकि वो और मोटे हो जाए. सो जो फिट हैं उनको काम दिया जा रहा है. दे कैन नॉट लीव द चेयर एंड सून दे विल बी फैट बिकॉज प्रेशर विल कम. And in young generations, what I'm observing, some comments come like that. Comments are like that, sir, shadi, suppose they have to go to any marriage. So employees prefer, or you can some senior students also prefer, they diet for 1 month, 1.5 month, so that they look good in a marriage. And if they are done with the marriage, then they don't worry about their obesity. Means point is ke they want to impress only the groom or the bride before marriage. They want to look fit. But once they are earning, अब तो शादी हो गई है, अब किसको हमने बोलना है. So ये mindset के ऊपर मैं बोल रहा हूँ all the time is कि people in the student level, since I am taking care only the university level, I have seen fat professors, thin professors, but then the idea comes is it is the body mindset coming up. Second, if I want to say university level pay and different level pay, there are days celebration, जैसे Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine Day, Obesity Day, No Drug Day, talks हो रही हैं. On ground पे जो काम होना चाहिए, I will tell you a quick joke. there was a therapist who gave advice to a obese patient. Okay, you should put a photograph of a thin lady on the fridge, inside the fridge, so that whenever you open the fridge, you get inspired by the thin lady and you stop eating it. So now the mindset changes. After 6 months, the lady became thin, but her husband became fat in 6 months. So the joke goes is, okay, what is in the mindset? Who is looking what? Who is getting inspired by what? Somebody looking to get thin not to get food, but somebody who is fat, he is looking, who is thin, he is looking for something else. So mindset जब तक change नहीं हो रहा है in the organization, things are not going. Let me tell you, as a happiness professor, we do some campaigns. So we did one campaign in our university. It is I am beautiful. Now this is a specific campaign which anybody जो सुन रहे होंगे बच्चे, तो वो ध्यान से सुन ले. Normally बच्चे जब भी फोटो लगाते हैं, many of the girls, they don't put a photograph without a filter. जब तक फिल्टर ना लगा ले, अपना वो थोड़ा चीन टोन कर ले या बॉडी टोन कर ले, वो फोटो डालते ही नहीं है, you can say, in the social media. So we started the campaign I am beautiful. How we did that was, मैंने सबसे पूछा, do you love your mother? सबने कहा yes sir, we love our mother. So I said के so you all must agree के your mother body will look like Katrina Kaif, right? So she will be very beautiful. टोन बॉडी लाइक ना सर, मम्मी ऐसी तो नहीं है. नहीं, बट आपने कहा ना मम्मी ब्यूटीफुल है, तो व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ ब्यूटीफुल? कि बॉडी की शेप ही होगी ना. कह रहे नहीं सर. देन दे स्टार्टेड द कैंपेन. फिर हमने कहा अभी आप कोई भी फोटो डालोगे सोशल मीडिया पे, उसको फिल्टर नहीं लगाओगे. बगैर फिल्टर लगाए आपने फोटो डालनी है एंड यू से आई लव माई सेल्फ. बट देन दिस ऑब्सेशन ऑफ थिननेस इज कमिंग मोर बाय द फिल्टर. जकरबर्ग पे केस हो गया था बिकॉज इंस्टाग्राम के कारण बहुत सारा मेंटल हेल्थ इश्यूज हो रहे हैं. he was charged that because of Instagram people are putting fake reels of thin thing, filter लगा के कर रहे हैं. And these children, a student in the even 20-year-old, not just students only, even at the 40-year-old, 50-year-old, they're still obsessed with the body only. They're still using the filters only, right? So we said, if you can be less obsessed of the body, you can be little, because all the fashion designers, they are sketching the dresses on thin ladies only. They are not designing the dresses for them. उनको वो बना ही नहीं रहे हैं, तो वो already discard कर दिया जा रहा है. So पूरा small portion of the world is thin, but South India में जाएंगे तो we are appreciating those who are healthy bodies. But वो और North India में हम अलग बोलेंगे. So this is one mindset problem in our university. We always say कि बिहेवियर पे फोकस करना है. किसी का बिहेवियर चेंज नहीं हो रहा है, धीरे धीरे वो मोटा हो जाएगा. बिकॉज जो लोग मोटे थे बाद में पतले हुए, ये ऑब्जर्व किया गया, वो फिर मोटे हो गए हैं. बिकॉज उनको वो जो प्यार, रिस्पेक्ट, सिंपैथी, वो जो पहले मिल रहा था जब वो मोटे थे, उनको तब नहीं मिल रहा जब वो पतले हो गए हैं. So they said, let us go back to the same situation, and they started that. So एक ये mindset का issue है which organization should take care of it. Something like that. In short, over to you, Dr. Swati.
थैंक यू
Hope it
डॉक्टर
add value to
अरोड़ा.
you.
और बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट आपने उठाए हैं, खासतौर से जो सबसे पहले आपने कियोस्क के बारे में कहा, कि जहां भी कहीं हम जाते हैं, और देखिए ये सच है मेरे ख्याल से ऑल ओवर इंडिया, हर तरह के ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए, यहाँ तक कि हॉस्पिटल्स में भी हम इस तरह के कियोस्क देखते हैं जहां इस तरह के जंक फूड को परोसा जा रहा है. और इसलिए ये एक बहुत बड़ा सवाल है कि हम कैसे हमारे एनवायरमेंट्स जो हैं वो सपोर्टिव हो सकता है, वो पॉजिटिव हो सकता है. इसके बारे में एक बड़े लेवल पर पॉलिसी डिसीजन की जरूरत होगी. अब जहां हमने इतनी बात कर ली है कि कैसे हम ओबेसिटी को प्रिवेंट करें और कैसे उसके एनवायरमेंट को हम बेहतर करें, तो वहीं अब हम ये बात भी कर लेते हैं कि अगर ओबेसिटी हो जाती है किसी को, तो क्या मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट्स आपके पास अवेलेबल है, कैसे जो है आप एक डॉक्टर की मदद से जो है इससे निजात पा सकते हैं. तो लेट मी इंट्रोड्यूस आवर लास्ट बट नॉट द लीस्ट स्पीकर, डॉक्टर दक्ष सेठी. ही इज एन एमिनेंट मिनिमल एक्सेस एंड बेरियाट्रिक सर्जन. He's a senior consultant at the Institute of Minimal Access Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery at Sir Gangaram Hospital, New Delhi. He's an AIMS and PGI alumnus. He's a gold medalist specializing in advanced laparoscopic, robotic, and bariatric surgery with training abroad. So I would like to welcome you, Dr. Daksh Sethi, over here.
Thank you, Dr. Swati. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Very good
Yeah.
afternoon to
Yeah.
you.
Good afternoon.
So,
Thank you, Dr. Swati, Dr. Megha, for the invite. Yep.
yeah, so
Please.
थोड़ा सा हिंदी इंग्लिश कर लेते हैं since our audience is
हाँ जी.
posting a lot of requests for going Hindi as well. तो कब
Yeah.
आपको लगता है डॉक्टर दक्ष की medical obesity जो है it's become a problem now and people should come to you or should come to a doctor seeking help for obesity?
I think that is the most important question nowadays. And so, सबसे सिंपल बात अब यही है कि ओबेसिटी पहले दिन से ही डिजीज है. ये सिर्फ मैं नहीं कह रहा, आजकल बोमन ईरानी और अपना पाठक शाह भी टीवी पे आपको कह रहे हैं. एवरीबडी मस्ट हैव सीन इट. ओबेसिटी इज अ क्रॉनिक डिजीज एंड इट शुड बी ट्रीटेड एज दैट. उसको वैसे ही उसका इलाज करना चाहिए. और इंडियन पॉपुलेशन में ओबेसिटी जो है, इट इज नॉट नेसेसरीली कि आप बहुत मोटे हैं तभी आपको परेशानी होगी. इंडिया में एक थिन फैट हाइपोथेसिस है. मतलब आपका बीएमआई या आपका वेट कम भी है तब भी आप ओबीज हैं. और ओबेसिटी के जो प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, जो मेटाबॉलिक सिंड्रोम है, मान लो डायबिटीज है, हाइपरटेंशन है, ऑब्स्ट्रक्टिव स्लीप एपनिया है, ये सब एक बहुत लोअर बीएमआई, मतलब कम वेट पे आपको शुरू हो रही है एज कंपेयर टू वेस्टर्न पॉपुलेशन. इसकी बड़ी वजह यह भी हो सकती है कि हमारी डाइट में कार्बोहाइड्रेट ज्यादा है, हम प्रोटीन उतना नहीं लेते. एक प्रिडोमिनेंटली वेजिटेरियन ईटिंग पॉपुलेशन है इंडिया की. देयर कैन बी मेनी फैक्टर्स. लेकिन ओबेसिटी की जो परेशानियां हैं वो मच लोअर बीएमआई पे शुरू होती हैं एज कंपेयर टू वेस्टर्न पॉपुलेशन. इसमें जो एक बात समझने वाली है बड़ी सिंपली, कि हमारी बॉडी का एक मेटाबॉलिक थर्मोस्टेट होता है. मान लो सिंपल शब्दों में एक सेट पॉइंट है. जब तक वो सेट पॉइंट नीचे नहीं आएगा, ये सेट पॉइंट कई चीजों से बना हो सकता है. मल्टीपल हार्मोन्स, 5 से 6 हार्मोन होते हैं, ग्रेलिन, लेप्टिन, जीएलपी 1, जीआईपी. डॉक्टर धीरज ने कई इसमें इसके बारे में काफी बात भी करी थी पहले. जब तक ये सेट पॉइंट जो है हम नीचे नहीं लेके आएंगे, तब तक हमारा वजन अच्छे से और परमानेंटली लॉन्ग स्टैंडिंग वेट लॉस नहीं होगा. इसको सेट पॉइंट को नीचे लाने के लिए सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है लाइफस्टाइल मॉडिफिकेशन. मतलब खाना कम करें, एक्सरसाइज करें, हेल्दी डाइट लें और हमारा वेट कम करें. अगर तो हम अपनी लाइफस्टाइल मॉडिफिकेशन से वो सेट पॉइंट को नीचे रख सकते हैं, जिसके लिए डिसिप्लिन रिक्वायर्ड होता है. अगर वो डिसिप्लिन हम मेंटेन करते हैं तो हमारा वेट कम ही रहेगा. लेकिन अगर हम वो डिसिप्लिन नहीं मेंटेन कर पाते तो हमारा धीरे धीरे करके वेट रीगेन होगा, जो यो इफेक्ट जिसे कहते हैं, कि वेट पहले कम हुआ फिर बढ़ गया, फिर दूसरी बार कम हुआ फिर बढ़ गया. तो कई लोग ऐसे योयो इफेक्ट में ही चलते रहते हैं. और एक टाइम ऐसा आता है कि योयो इफेक्ट की वजह से हमारी अब बॉडी में और भी परेशानियां शुरू हो गई, जैसे डायबिटीज हो गई, हाइपरटेंशन हो गई. सबसे कॉमन चीज जो लोगों को नहीं रियलाइज होती, कि स्नोरिंग. स्नोरिंग इज अ साइन ऑफ ऑब्स्ट्रक्टिव स्लीप एपनिया. आप सीधे लेट के नहीं सो पा रहे, आप करवट लेके सोना पड़ रहा है, आप 2 तकिए लगा रहे हैं, अपना हेड एंड ऊपर रख रहे हैं, बैठे बैठे सो रहे होते हैं कई लोग, कि लेट के नींद नहीं आती. तो दिस कैन बी वेरी डेंजरस, क्योंकि इसकी वजह से आपको नींद में कंजेस्टिव हार्ट फेलियर वगैरह भी हो सकता है. सो दीज आर दी अर्ली वार्निंग साइंस दैट यू हैव टू सी कि आपकी ओबेसिटी अब कॉम्प्लिकेशंस कर रही है. तो सिंपलेस्ट मेनूवर जो है वो है बीएमआई, बॉडी मास इंडेक्स कहते हैं. ये आपकी हाइट और वेट के हिसाब से कैलकुलेट करा जाता है. वेस्टर्न पॉपुलेशन में तो हायर बीएमआई है. इंडियन पॉपुलेशन में अगर आपका बीएमआई 35 से ज्यादा है तो आप बेरियाट्रिक सर्जरी के कैंडिडेट बनते हैं, या 32.5 से ज्यादा विद कोमॉर्बिडिटीज जैसे डायबिटीज है, हाइपरटेंशन है, स्लीप एपनिया है, ऑस्टियोआर्थराइटिस है, घुटने नहीं काम कर रहे, घुटनों में दर्द, कमर में दर्द, ये सब परेशानियां अगर हैं तो यू बिकम अ कैंडिडेट फॉर बेरियाट्रिक सर्जरी. इवन 27.5 से ऊपर भी कई गाइडलाइंस आजकल रेकमेंड कर रही हैं विद मेटाबॉलिक सिंड्रोम, कि आप बेरियाट्रिक सर्जरी, या उस केस में उसे मेटाबॉलिक सर्जरी कहते हैं, वो आप करा सकते हैं. Along with these, if the patient is not willing for bariatric surgery या bariatric surgery के लिए फिट नहीं है, तो फिर हम ये GLP-1 एनालॉग्स, जो ये ड्रग्स आ गए, जैसे सीमाग्लुटाइड हो गया, टिrzepatide हो गया, अलग अलग काफी कॉमन नामों से आजकल पेपर में भी आते हैं इनके बारे में, इन सब के कैंडिडेट हम बनते हैं. बट ऑल दीज कैन बी यूज टुगेदर ऑल्सो. एंड वॉट इज राइट फॉर यू एंड हाउ डू यू हैव टू टेक इट फॉरवर्ड. In my practice, it is very common for me to do a body composition analysis. बिफोर स्टार्टिंग एनीथिंग, आप बॉडी कॉम्पोजिशन करिए, आपके शरीर में कितना मसल है, कितना फैट है, क्योंकि एट द एंड ऑफ द डे आपको फैट कम करना है विदाउट लूजिंग मसल. मोस्ट कॉमन वजह कि आप इन सब दवाइयों से या बेरियाट्रिक सर्जरी से भी पतले हो गए, लेकिन वो रिगेन होता है कि आपकी मसल भी कम हो गई। मसल कम हो गया तो आपका बेसल मेटाबॉलिक रेट कम हो गया, वो कम हो गया तो फिर आपकी जो रेस्टिंग कैलोरी बर्निंग है वो कम हो जाएगी। तो यू हैव अ हायर चांस ऑफ रिगेनिंग वट एवर वेट यू हैव लॉस्ट। So the aim is to lose fat but not lose muscle, and that is what will keep you healthy. Eventually, health is what is important. I think that is the long and short
थैंक
of
यू
it. Yeah.
थैंक यू सो मच डॉक्टर दक्ष, एंड बहुत सही आपने कहा, क्योंकि आज भी लोगों के मन में बहुत भ्रम रहता है कि क्या ओबेसिटी ऐसी कोई बीमारी है जिसके लिए हमें सर्जरी करानी चाहिए। तो अभी सर्जरी के बारे में भी आपसे और ज्यादा बातें करेंगे इसको लेकर के। लेट मी गो बैक टू आवर फर्स्ट पैनलिस्ट डॉक्टर शिखा शर्मा।
जी
डॉक्टर शिखा,
जी डॉक्टर स्वाति।
एक और क्वेश्चन आपसे ले लेते हैं, और उससे पहले मैं ऑडियंस से ये भी बोलना चाहूंगी, अगर आपके पास कोई सवाल है तो जरूर आप लिख करके हमें भेज सकते हैं, और बाद में भी हम एक क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन करेंगे। तो पैनलिस्ट से भी मेरी रिक्वेस्ट है कि थोड़े से आंसर्स को शॉर्ट रखें, सो दैट हम कुछ क्वेश्चंस भी बाद में ऑडियंस के जरूर ले पाए। तो आपसे डॉक्टर शिखा, जैसे अभी सर ने बोला कि मोमोज, मैदा, मैदा मोमोज, मैदा ब्रेड, और अब एक चीज बहुत ही कॉमनली मैंने देखा है जो ऐड हो गई है, और वो है नूडल्स। इसका इतना ज्यादा यूज अब हो गया है, तो आपसे ये प्रश्न रहेगा कि ऐसा क्या नेशनल डाइटरी हैबिट है जो आपको लगता है कि एक हमें इस चीज में जरूर सुधार कर लेना चाहिए, जिससे कि हम भारत में ओबेसिटी का जो इस वक्त बर्डन है उसे कम कर सकते हैं।
देखिए, नेशनली आई वुड से अगर आप किसी से भी पूछे, स्पेशली जैसे हम आमतौर पे डाइटरी रिकॉल वगैरह लेते हैं, लोग फल और सैलेड बिल्कुल नहीं खाते। और सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि उनको लगता है कि अगर हमें कैलोरी 1000 खानी है तो उस 1000 कैलोरी में हमारा फेवरेट समोसा या हमारा कुरकुरे या मोमोज या ये सारी चीजें हम फिट करके 1000 कैलोरी तक पहुंच जाएंगे। सो व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज कि आप अपने शरीर को चीट नहीं कर सकते। अगर शरीर को सैलेड चाहिए तो उसको चाहिए, अगर फ्रूट चाहिए तो चाहिए, अगर उसको वेजिटेबल्स चाहिए तो चाहिए। तो आप कैलोरी को एक वो बना के, एक्सक्यूज बना के, आप उसमें 1000 कैलोरी में लोग यही करते हैं, समोसा भी फिट कर देते हैं, उसमें अपना चीनी भी आ जाती है, एंड देन दे आर्ग्यू विद द डॉक्टर कि जी हमने 1000 कैलोरी आपने कहा था वो ही खा रहे हैं। इट इज व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से इज कि ये क्वालिटी ऑफ फूड मैटर्स, नॉट अदर थिंग्स। तो आप ईट राइट, नॉट ईट लेस। तो जैसे कि अभी पहले एक डॉक्टर ने साहब ने कहा था कि पेशेंट आते हैं और कहते हैं हम तो कुछ खाते ही नहीं है, वो कम खाते हैं मगर गलत खाते हैं।
बहुत ठीक कहा डॉक्टर शिखा आपने, क्योंकि जब जंक फूड खाने होता है तो हम उस पर कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं करते, हम हेल्दी फूड पे कॉम्प्रोमाइज करते हैं कि ये खा लेते हैं, फिर वो कम खा लेंगे तो हमारा बैलेंस क्रिएट हो जाएगा। ये बहुत सही कहा आपने। और अब मिस पूनम, आपके पास मैं आती हूँ, एक क्वेश्चन आपसे और ले लेते हैं हम कि बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे हैं जो वेट लॉस सस्टेन करने के लिए स्ट्रगल करते हैं, तो क्या साइकोलॉजिकल फैक्टर्स हैं आप देखती हैं जो कि बिहेवियर चेंज के बीच में रुकावट बनकर सामने आते हैं?
ये बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन है डॉक्टर स्वाति। देखिए क्या होता है, हमारा कॉन्वर्सेशन यूजुअली क्या 3 चीज़ों के टुवर्ड्स होता है कि आपने आज एक पूरे दिन में कितनी कैलोरीज ली। हमारे पास कैलोरी ट्रैकर्स हो गए हैं फ़ोन में, हम उससे अपनी कैलोरीज ट्रैक करते हैं। दूसरी चीज़ हम पूछते हैं कि हमने कितनी कैलोरीज बर्न करी, अगर जितनी कंज्यूम करी उससे ज़्यादा बर्न करी तो बेटर किया। सो कैलोरी रिड्यूस करने के लिए हम एक्सरसाइज की बातें करते हैं। और तीसरी चीज हम बात करते हैं हमारी विल पावर की, हमारे अंदर कितना डिसिप्लिन है कि हम अपनी ओबेसिटी को और अपने ग्रोइंग वेस्ट लाइन, जैसे डॉक्टर गौर ने कहा, उसको कंट्रोल कर सके। बट आपने पूछा कि साइकोलॉजिकली व्हाट आर द बैरियर्स दैट कम इन बिटवीन, कि वो हम उसको सस्टेन नहीं कर पाते हैं, राइट? तो बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स हैं। द फर्स्ट फैक्टर इज कि ये होता क्यों है, बिकॉज अगर आप देखें आज जब स्कूल में 65% लार्जर बॉडीज हैं, मतलब बच्चे ही अपने नॉर्मल वेट से ज्यादा वेट के हैं आजकल। सो दैट मीन्स कि ये जो ओबेसिटी है ये बड़े होकर नहीं हो रही है, ये कहीं बचपन से ही हो रही है, एंड बचपन से ही इसका मतलब लाइफस्टाइल खराब हो रहा है। सो अगर ये ऐसा हो रहा है तो बेसिकली ये लाइफस्टाइल उतना नहीं हो सकता है, क्योंकि फास्ट मेटाबॉलिज्म बच्चों में और ज्यादा एनर्जी कैन स्टिल कीप देम इन अ गुड शेप, बट ज्यादा साइकोलॉजिकल हो रहा है कि अगर किसी बच्चे को अब्यूज किया गया है फिजिकली, मेंटली, साइकोलॉजिकली, तो वो बच्चा एक ट्रॉमा डेवलप कर लेता है और दैट ट्रॉमा उसके ब्रेन को जाके अफेक्ट करता है, जिससे उसका रिवॉर्ड मैकेनिज्म गड़बड़ हो जाता है। उसको छोटी छोटी चीजों में प्लेजर मिलना कम हो जाता है। उसको जो रिवॉर्ड नजर आता है वो इमोशनल ईटिंग में आता है, खाना खाने में आता है, और वो धीरे धीरे उस फूड को अपना कोपिंग मैकेनिज्म बना लेता है कि अगर मैंने मतलब मेरे अंदर कोई प्रॉब्लम होगी जिसकी वजह से मैं ऐसा बनता जा रहा हूं, तो वो आइसोलेट भी होता जाएगा और वो टुवर्ड्स फूड भी चला जाएगा, एंड ग्रेजुअली अपनी इनसफिशिएंसीज को छुपाने के लिए ग्रेजुअल वेट गेन भी होता जाएगा। सो ऐसे बच्चों को बहुत जरूरी है कि क्या उनको कैसे उनका नैरेटिव चेंज करना चाहिए। सो हम जब उनकी मेंटल नैरेटिव को चेंज करने की बात करते हैं तो हम सबसे पहले उनको एडुकेटर्स एंड स्कूल में जितने भी ट्रेनर्स हैं, जो भी टीचर्स हैं, उनको ट्रेन करना चाहिए टुवर्ड्स अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्या ये सडन वेट गेन है, क्या इसके लाइफस्टाइल में कोई इमीडिएट चेंज आया है, क्या घर से कोई प्रॉब्लम आई है जिसकी वजह से बच्चा शाय होता जा रहा है, इसमें चला जा रहा है, और वो अपने वेट गेन से कोप नहीं कर पा रहा है बिकॉज वो वेंट नहीं कर पा रहा है, बिकॉज वो इमोशंस मेटाबलाइज नहीं कर पा रहा है। तो वो इमोशंस कहाँ जाके डिपॉजिट हो रहे हैं? थ्रू फूड ऑन द बॉडी। सो दिस इज व्हाट इज द रीजन व्हाई ये ऑब्स्टिकल नहीं है।
इसीलिए आपके जैसे एजुकेटर्स की जो है बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत होती है, ताकि जो भी वेट लॉस जर्नी पर हैं वो अपनी जर्नी को बेहतर समझ सकें और किस तरह के कदम उन्हें उठाने हैं उसमें उनको सहयोग मिल सके। अब लेट्स मूव टू डॉक्टर राजऋषि नाउ।
Yeah, hi.
या हाय। सो बहुत सारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस जो है वो एक एनुअल हेल्थ चेकअप कराते हैं, और सभी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में हम देखते हैं कि बहुत सारी जो है ये रिपोर्ट्स जनरेट होती हैं, पर क्या वाकई इन रिपोर्ट्स के ऊपर कुछ एक्शन होता है या होना चाहिए? ये आपसे एक बहुत अहम सवाल है।
होता तो नहीं है, होना चाहिए तो जरूर। See, the thing is that we need to get access to these annual health checkups because most of organizations do not share it with their corporate physician. अगर हमें वो access मिले, then what we can do is we can categorize the employees basis the risk factors. We can categorize them on high risk, moderate risk, or low risk. अगर हम लोग ये कर पाए तो उसके बाद we can have a continuous monitoring of health parameters. We can have continuous counseling. We can have a lot more activities based around that executive health checkup, which comes out every year. Having said that, to be very, very honest, what I've seen, ये health checkups free तो होते हैं, लेकिन employees 20 to 30% employees ही health checkup करवाते हैं। बाकी एम्प्लॉइज तो हेल्थ चेकअप करवाते भी नहीं है, तो बोल बोल के थक जाते हैं कि आप हेल्थ चेकअप करवा लो, फिर जाके हेल्थ चेकअप करवाते हैं। आई डोंट थिंक एनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हैज एक्चुअली कंप्लीटेड देयर फुल कोटा ऑफ हेल्थ एग्जीक्यूटिव हेल्थ चेकअप। तो तो ये एक डिसिप्लिन है which needs to be inculcated into employees, and the HR in tandem with the corporate physician or the chief medical officer has to take it up seriously to analyze those reports, to interpret this report, and to act on these reports. Yeah.
बिल्कुल ठीक कहा आपने कि हम इतनी सारी जो पोथियां बनाते हैं, सबके टेस्ट लेते हैं, ब्लड टेस्ट करते हैं, सब कुछ करते हैं, अगर उसका आगे चल के कोई फायदा ना हो तो ये टेस्ट भी बेमायने हो जाते हैं और इनका कोई फायदा नहीं है। सो इसलिए डेफिनेटली ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को इस बारे में सोचना चाहिए कि कैसे हम इसको आगे चल के ट्रांसलेट करें और अपनी जो हमारे एम्प्लॉयज हैं उनकी हेल्थ के लिए बेहतर सोचें। अब हम एक क्वेश्चन ले रहे हैं, मिस इशिता का क्वेश्चन है प्रोफेसर अरोड़ा, स्पेशली आपके लिए, तो हम सीधे उसी पर जंप कर जाते हैं। वो कह रही है कि ज्यादातर जो ओबीज लोग होते हैं वो देखने में खुश दिखते हैं, तो क्या ओबेसिटी और जो ये हैप्पीनेस फैक्टर है, क्या ये इंटर रिलेटेड है?
वो मैम एक गाना है कि इतना क्यों मुस्कुरा रहे हो, क्या है वो गम जो तुम छुपा रहे हो। ये तो नॉर्मल चलता है मैम, जो ज्यादा दुखी होते हैं ज्यादा हंसते रहते हैं, बिकॉज सोसाइटी उसको अलाउ नहीं करती है। अकेले रो पर हंसी हो साथ में लोग रहेंगे। सो इसी तरह ये समझ जाना बेटा, कुछ ज्यादा हंस रहा है ना, उसको जरा पोक कर दोगे ना कि क्या गम है जो छुपा रहे हो। अगर वो ब्लास्ट ना हुआ तो समझ जाना कि वो नॉर्मल है, अगर वो ब्लास्ट हो गया तो वो उसका आपका पोकिंग काम कर गया। सो अवॉइड दिस काइंड ऑफ, ये सब नहीं चलता है। जो है वो जो दिखता है वो है। सो इन शॉर्ट।
बिल्कुल, चलिए अब हम डॉक्टर दक्ष के पास भी चलते हैं।
Yeah.
डॉक्टर दक्ष, जनरली जब सर्जरी की बात आती है तो आपको क्या लगता है, वो क्या बैरियर्स हैं या क्या लोगों के मन में भावना रहती है जिसको लेकर के लोग सर्जरी से हिचकिचाते हैं, या उन्हें लगता है कि ओबेसिटी एक ऐसी बीमारी नहीं है जिसके लिए मुझे सर्जरी कराने की जरूरत है। तो ये क्या फैक्टर्स रहते हैं और आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
देखिए, बेरियाट्रिक सर्जरी के बारे में सबसे बड़े जो मिसकंसेप्शन है उनमें से पहला है कि ये बहुत डेंजरस है और ये ओपन सर्जरी होती है। ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं है। ये या तो लैप्रोस्कोपिक या रोबोटिक होती ही है आजकल। इसका रिस्क उतना ही है जितना गॉल ब्लैडर, हर्निया, अपेंडिक्स के ऑपरेशन में होता है। उतने ही 3 से 4, हद से हद 5 छोटे छोटे 5 मिलीमीटर से 1 सेंटीमीटर के छेद होते हैं। 35 मिनट से 1 घंटा आपका सर्जिकल टाइम होता है और 1 से 2 दिन में आपकी छुट्टी भी हो जाती है। तो सबसे बड़ा मिसकंसेप्शन कि बहुत बड़ा चीरा लगेगा तभी हमारा वजन कम होगा, ये बिल्कुल गलत है। कोई रिस्क नहीं है। रिस्क उतना ही है जितना किसी भी और सर्जरी में है। दूसरा सबसे बड़ा मिसकंसेप्शन ये है कि मतलब हम लोग ऑपरेशन थिएटर में गए तो मॉर्बिडली ओबीस हैं, लेकिन बाहर हम बिल्कुल हीरो या हीरोइन बन के निकलेंगे। ऐसा भी नहीं है। और एकदम से ऑपरेशन के बाद आपको कोई जादू नहीं होगा। आपका वेट धीरे धीरे पहले 6 महीने साल में तेजी से कम होगा, दूसरे साल में थोड़ा धीरे होगा, 2 साल के एंड पे मान के चलिए 24 मंथ्स हम मानते हैं कि उसके बाद जो आपका वेट है आफ्टर सर्जरी वो आपके साथ रहेगा। बेसिक जो वेरिएशन है 2, 4, 5 किलो की, वो ऊपर नीचे वो हो सकते हैं, जो नॉर्मल वेरिएशन है। लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है कि आपका बहुत सीरियसली कम होगा या बहुत सीरियसली बढ़ेगा। तो दैट इज वन थिंग। तीसरा जो बहुत बड़ा मिसकंसेप्शन है कि इट इज एन इजी वे आउट। ऐसा भी नहीं है। देखिए, एनी वेट लॉस इज 80% डाइट एंड 20% एक्सरसाइज। दी एक्सरसाइज इसलिए कि आप जो आपने डाइट से कम करा है उसको आप मेंटेन कर सकें और अपना मसल मास बना के हेल्दी रह सकें। तो वो चीज डज नॉट चेंज। बेरियाट्रिक सर्जरी आपका 80% कर देगी, 20% जब तक आप नहीं करेंगे तब तक जो रिजल्ट और जो इफेक्ट आपको चाहिए वो पूरा नहीं आएगा। आप सबसे पहली चीज जो मैं हर पेशेंट से पूछता हूं कि आपकी नीयत है कि नहीं वजन कम करने की। अगर आपकी नीयत है तो बेरियाट्रिक सर्जरी विल बी अ गेम चेंजर फॉर यू। इट इज अ सिल्वर बुलेट इफ यू वांट इट टू बी, बट इट विल नॉट बी फॉर एवरीवन। अगर आपकी नीयत नहीं है, मान लो हमने स्टमक का साइज छोटा कर दिया, आपकी फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्री बॉडी की बदल दी, आपकी कैलोरी रिस्ट्रिक्शन, लेकिन आप चाशनी से भरा पानी पी रहे हो, आप कोक पी रहे हो दिन में 10 बारी, तो आप कैलोरी रिस्ट्रिक्ट तो आपकी हो ही नहीं रही ना। आप खुद ही सर्जरी फेल कर दोगे। तो अगर नीयत नहीं है तो बेरियाट्रिक भी नहीं काम करेगी। तो इट इज नॉट एन इजी वे आउट। देयर इज नो सब्स्टिट्यूट फॉर पेशेंट्स हार्ड वर्क। द रिजल्ट विल वेरी ऑन दैट ओनली। थैंक यू।
ये आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा कि जो है देयर इज नो सब्स्टिट्यूट फॉर हार्ड वर्क एंड फॉर योर न्यूट्रिशन फॉर दैट मैटर। तो ये तो आपको करना ही करना है, और उसके साथ आप और क्या कर सकते हैं। और खास तौर से अगर आप सर्जरी के बारे में सोच रहे हैं तो गूगल पे या दोस्तों से सुन करके बातों पर उस पर विश्वास नहीं करें, बल्कि डॉक्टर से जाके मिले, क्योंकि वो आपके लिए कहीं बेहतर विकल्प बता सकते हैं। और बहुत सारे विकल्प हैं, जैसे अभी डॉक्टर साहब ने कहा, एक विकल्प नहीं है, बहुत सारे विकल्प हैं जो हर पर्सन की नीड के हिसाब से जो है उनको सूट करके देखा जाता है कि उनके लिए क्या बेस्ट रहेगा। तो डॉक्टर से जरूर मिले, मेरी ये सलाह रहेगी ऐसी स्थिति में, इसकी बजाय कि आप इधर उधर सुनी हुई बातों पर जो है विश्वास करके अपना डिसीजन बनाए। तो अब अगर कुछ क्वेश्चंस हैं तो वो भी हम ले लेते हैं, क्योंकि आई थिंक वी आर रनिंग आउट ऑफ टाइम एज वेल। अगर कोई क्वेश्चन है या कोई अपना क्वेश्चन रखना चाहता है तो यू आर मोस्ट वेलकम। डॉक्टर मेघा, डू वी हैव एनी क्वेश्चंस?
Yes, we have received some questions on the chat box.
Okay.
I'm going to speak.
आई थिंक एक या दो क्वेश्चन हम ले सकते हैं, क्योंकि वी आर ऑलरेडी नियर 4 नाउ।
Right. So, there is a question to Dr. Rajshri Bhattacharya ji. What are the
Yeah.
chronic diseases kids and adults can get due to sedentary, screen-based lifestyle, What is the mental and physical impact of this shift?
So I think this has been explained already. Ki, uh, when we were growing up, we were encouraged to go out and play. We were encouraged to just go out and enjoy. There were a lot of physical activities which used to happen. But now what I see is that kids are more and more engrossed on screen time. So what happens is, because the parents are busy, the lifestyle has changed, and the kids have a lot of screen time. That increases obesity. That decreases spoils their eyesight. That's number one. And mental health is severely affected in a way that they see their world through the screen. They actually do not have a direct interaction with the society. What they see is what they believe. So social interaction kam ho jata hai. Obesity is a byproduct because physical activities come hai. So this is what I think is happening with increased screen time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ashri. The next question is for Dr. Poonam Bhargav. There's a question from Ankush, who is 14 years old. He is saying that I'm 61 kg. Body shaming is done by his teacher. And how to handle in schools, as teacher always say, you cannot do this work as you're fat. I get stressed. How do I handle that?
Yeah. So what is the name of the person, Dr. Megha?
It's Ankush.
अंकुश सबसे पहले आई थिंक दो चीजें आपके लिए मैं बोलूंगी. एक है कि यू हैव टू, इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट बट यू हैव टू एक्सेप्ट योरसेल्फ एज यू आर. जब हम एक अफेक्ट होते हैं, ये इसलिए अफेक्ट होते हैं क्योंकि हम सोचते हैं कि हमारे अंदर कोई प्रॉब्लम है, क्योंकि किसी ने कुछ पॉइंट आउट किया, इसका मतलब वो ठीक नहीं है. तो ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है. आपको अपने आप को जैसे हैं आपको वैसे एक्सेप्ट करना है, सो दैट आप किसी और का गिफ्ट इन एनी फॉर्म ऑफ लेबल लेना बंद कर दें. सबसे पहले वो. दूसरा, आप देखें कि आप हेल्दी कितने हैं. अगर आपको लग रहा है कि इस वेट की वजह से आपको ये बोला जा रहा है आप ये नहीं कर सकते, आप वो नहीं कर सकते, तो क्या ये सच है? अगर आप कर सकते हो, इसका मतलब आप हेल्दी हो, और अगर आप हेल्दी हो तो आप ठीक हो. मगर आपको अपने आप को दो ट्रॉमास नहीं देने हैं कि किसी ने मुझे बोल दिया अगर मैं कर नहीं सकता हूं तो वो सही है. नहीं, ये आपको डिसाइड करना है कि आप क्या कर सकते हैं और आप क्या नहीं कर सकते. नोबडी हैज द पावर टू पिन पॉइंट एंड लेबल यू कि आप क्या हो और आप क्या कर सकते हो. तो ये आपके ऊपर है सबसे पहले, टू लव योर सेल्फ. और जब आप अपने आप को अच्छे से खुद से अपनाओगे, तब आप सबके सामने खड़े होके बोल पाओगे कि नो, आई एम समबडी. सो आपको ये करना चाहिए.
Thank you so much, Dr. Poonam. The next question is from Ishita to Dr. Arora. She's saying obese people are said to be happy. Is
ये
happiness
हो
and
गया है.
obesity,
ये
are
हो
they
गया है
ये
डॉक्टर
आई
related?
थिंक ये हो गया है.
Okay,
ये हो गया है डॉक्टर मेघा.
okay, then it's good. I think so for the maternity weight also that has been covered. There was one more question posted open-endedly.
Dr. Megha, just when I said in my last the same question, it was I think one-sided answer. I said it, but then ये कॉमिक्स पढ़ी हो मोटू पतलू की, तो वो कितनी हंसी वाली बातें करते हैं. उन सब पे ही हंसी आ रही है, सब खुश हो रहे हैं. इवन कपिल शो में some actors are fat, so they are the most loveliest comedian. So ये खुश रहते हैं because they are using their perception to do that. Was my voice clear? Was
थोड़ा सा लैग था.
Huh. I think so. We are done. Any more question? I don't think so.
रैप अप करें फिर डॉक्टर मेघा.
Right. So there were no more questions.
Okay, so let me thank all the panelists on behalf of Health Sector Skill Council for joining us today over here. And we had a very insightful डिस्कशन टुडे और जैसा कि सबने कहा अगर हमें भारत को ओबेसिटी से मुक्त करना है तो ये एक इंडिविजुअल लेवल पर नहीं होगा बल्कि हमें इसमें परिवारों का सहयोग चाहिए होगा, स्कूल का सहयोग चाहिए होगा, एनवायरनमेंट का सहयोग चाहिए होगा, हम जहाँ काम करते हैं वहाँ का सहयोग हमें चाहिए होगा और पॉलिसी लेवल पर भी हमें इसकी जरूरत होगी। और वहीं जो लोग ऑलरेडी ओबेसिटी से सफर कर रहे हैं उन्हें डॉक्टर्स का सपोर्ट भी चाहिए होगा। तो आप सबका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया जुड़ने के लिए आज यहाँ पर। और ओवर टू यू डॉक्टर मेघा, जैसा कि
Thank you,
हमारा
so Dr.
थीम भी है।
Swati, for moderating so well.
Yeah,
Thank
wonderful.
you so much.
Thank you.
थैंक यू,
You were very nice. Yeah.
थैंक यू,
Thank you, Dr. Swati.
Thanks, Dr. Swati. Thank you so much. I think
थैंक यू।
a great discussion, and I think it's uncovered. It's covered many uncovered aspects. I think which is very important, and I think great insights to all of you. I think before we go, I think I'd like to say to take away whatever we can. Probably this is a year-long campaign, and I think we will definitely request at some point of time to be part of us and how we probably get more innovative, how we can take it forward, so that the real message actually reaches the ground and actions happens. But I think let's again, if you let's pause as now, as in go back with my concluding statement. What I would say that, in fact, Dr. Arora is just probably there. Probably what your question was like happiness doesn't cause obesity. Like what obese people. I was going to say happiness does not cause obesity. It's the way you celebrate happiness cause obesity. आप पार्टी करते हो, सब कुछ करते हो. That is what probably cause obesity. Well, okay. So as an individual, let's pause and think, and not as a leader, but not as a policy maker, but as a human being, as a parent, as a children, as a human being, we should think about it. Somewhere you have a 12-year-old child, I think 14-year talking about body shaming. Somewhere a young professional hiding their reward card because they don't want to show it to the people because something has gone wrong. And I think a mother herself is silently blaming all point of time because she not able to control the weight. There's so many issues that are happening today. So let's remember one thing: obesity is just not a visible fact. Easily, very important. It's an inflammation. It's a disease. It's a silent insulin resistance. Dr. Dheeraj spoke so well about it. The sign is a fatty liver in the teenagers. It's blood pressure climbing quietly. And of course, Dr. will also, a lot of people, I'm sure younger people are now coming back to him for pediatric surgery and the solutions out there. So it's basically ultimately the confidence shrinking. And the most dangerous, probably, I'll say, weight of all this is the weight of stress. Because stigma delays diagnosis. And then stigma prevents consultation. Stigma increases stress hormones. Again, the vicious cycle goes on. Stigma pushes people away from care. And shame has never, what like Poonam said earlier, the shame has never healed a single human being, not one. It can never heal. So India today stands at a very crossroads. Now what is important for us is if we continue normalizing the metabolic disease, what obesity is, until heart becomes routine attacks become a routine at 40, and which is already happening. This is up to us. We get awakened or we take some choice is ours. We are not talking about statistics. It's about, I think the whole awareness program is about not data and kind of figure coming out something, but more about next generation. It's about whether a child born today will inherit a world of processed excess and food or silent disease, or a world that chooses prevention over prescription. I think the choice still belongs to us. We are changing the story of obesity. That's the theme. We are deciding the story of public health in India. And let people whosoever attended this of history probably say, when the numbers rose, when the burden grew, when stigma was loud, we did not look away. We stood up, we spoke science, we choose support, we built system, and we restored dignity. I think that's something what we talk about. And for the people who are talking about Hindi, I'd like to just 2 lines on Hindi and finish it off. Together, we can change the story of obesity. ना है ये सिर्फ वजन का बोझ, ना है ये सिर्फ वजन का बोझ, ना सिर्फ शरीर की कहानी, ना है ये सिर्फ वजन का बोझ, ना सिर्फ शरीर की कहानी, ये है तेजी से बढ़ती हुई एक सामाजिक परेशानी. ना ये कमजोर इरादों की बात, we may be strong, but ना ये कमजोर इरादों की बात, ना आलस की निशानी. You're not lazy kind of a thing. ये है बायोलॉजी, स्ट्रेस और नए दौर की कहानी। दिस इज टिपिकली व्हाट वी ऑल से दैट। चलिए आज इस कहानी को बदलते हैं। चलिए आज इस कहानी को बदलते हैं। तनाव दूर करते हैं, काउंसलर से बात करते हैं, गिल्ट नहीं समझ के साथ आगे बढ़ते हैं। सेहत का ख्याल रखें, अपनी आदतें अच्छी बनाओ, मिलकर ओबेसिटी पे रोक लगाओ। थैंक यू सो मच। थैंक यू एवरीवन फॉर वंस अगेन। थैंक यू।
Thank you.
Thank you so much to all the panelists and all the participants. Thank you so very much. This was just an inaugural webinar of our National Obesity Awareness Campaign. I urge all of you to join the HSSC movement, hashtag obesity pe rok. I have also written the same on the chat box as well. Under this campaign, we are also moving, as I have told in my opening remarks, that we are also doing the radio jingle activities on the Radio City 91.1 FM, and we will surely come back with much more awareness campaigns in on-site trainings in the schools, colleges, hospitals, and in the community. I urge for all of your support, and thank you so much for taking out your precious time and joining this webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Megha, for inviting. Thank you, Dr. Gaur.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.